So can you hear me now? Can you hear someone else talking? This is the voice interpreter that translates for me. Okay, I will repeat what I said earlier. Hello everyone. All my life, people looked at me as someone who cannot hear. Because I cannot hear, I communicate differently. I use sign language. My name is Lora. I have been deaf for 37 years since birth. As I am deaf, I lack one of my senses. So yes, I have a disability. But do I really have a disability? Am I really handicapped? What is a disability in the first place? I see myself as a person who can basically do just about anything. I turn the handicap I have into opportunities. Because I can't hear very well, I start using my visual sense more, which is highly developed. Suppose you cannot hear. How do you then communicate? What do you run into? I always have to look at someone when I communicate. If I look away or lose eye contact, I can no longer communicate, which means I can no longer follow what the person is saying. I will tell you something about my own experience. I follow only 10% of any conversation. This percentage is not based on scientific research, but on my own gut feel. The rest is educated guess based on body language. By making eye contact and carefully looking at their lips, I can see how they move and react and what their facial expressions are like. I remember very well when I was young, I had a conversation with a hearing person from my class. I remember very well when I was young, I had a conversation with a hearing person from my class. I looked at the person to communicate, but apparently just a little bit too long or too deep, and at some point the person said to me, out of the blue, "What are you looking at?" And I really felt very awkward. Was I staring at him too much? And I was getting a little bit awkward. But then I noticed that I was missing out on even more information if I didn't make any eye contact. Once during a meeting with some deaf and hearing people, there was this interpreter. The interpreter translates the spoken language of the hearing person. What I often do automatically is looking at the hearing person who is talking. I look at their lips to see what they are saying and at their body language. And I look at the interpreter to check the translation. The translation was good, but I still saw something else which wasn't reflected in the interpreter's translation. I asked the interpreter if she had translated correctly. As it turned out, the hearing person had been angry, and I have noticed this even though it hadn't been translated. I have noticed that my visual skills are highly developed. That is why I have made this my profession. I am a communication specialist. I want to make communication accessible. I focus on visual communication, both in image and form. My husband, Bas, and I have run our own business in this for 15 years. And I also give workshops on body language. And in between things, if I have room for it, I focus on the sensory experiences. And I am occasionally deployed as an aroma jockey. Bas, my husband, is also deaf, and we have 3 children. All three of them are hearing. 9, 7, and 2 years old. With our children, we communicate in a mixture of sign language and spoken language. We see in our children that they develop their visual skills also. We are sometimes told that our children are so well behaved. Well, I have always giggled about this a bit. How can it be? So it turned out it's because they look at people in conversation. They make eye contact. Because we need it for the communication. People therefore feel that our children are really listening. So they feel the children are very good listening to them. At home, our children also brought up the way to always look at us if they want to tell us something or want to communicate with us. If I'm cutting food in the kitchen with a sharp knife and one of our children calls me or taps me to tell their story, I cannot simply look aside and keep cutting at the same time, otherwise I will lose a finger. So the previous school year, the following happened. My daughter Jade, then 8 years old, came home and she said to me, "Mommy, the teacher is angry with me and I have no idea why." So I said to her, "Do you need a conversation with the three of us?" So we talked with the teacher and with our daughter. And then I just told Jade to just accept it, that some people look or act angrily. Because the teacher said, keep insisting that she wasn't angry. So I told her that you just have to accept it, that people have some facial expressions who look angrily. But in the end, at the last day of school, the teacher admitted that she had indeed been an angry teacher the entire school year. So the moral of the story, even a child, and a hearing child at that, not only takes in words but also body language. The teacher's word hadn't matched her body language. So today I want to make you aware of how powerful body language is. Most people have learned how to articulate properly or how to behave, etc. But they are clearly forgetting something important: body language, because everyone uses it 24/7. Does what they say with words really correspond with what their body say? What does the person really want to say? Are we aware of our attitude? How do we adapt to this? So my so-called disability I have is that as a result, I use my eyes more than the average hearing person. With the result that on average, I see more. I went once to a party. There were a lot of many people and the atmosphere was great. I bumped into someone I knew and had seen for a while. So I asked her, "Are you okay?" She said, "Yeah, I'm okay." But I noticed there was something off. So I asked again, "Is it really okay with you?" She said, yeah, it's okay." And I knew the person very well, so I asked her, "But I see something different. Is it really okay with you?" And then the person admitted that there was something going on in her life. I have been giving workshops to several large corporate companies for nearly 10 years, including one in the financial center of London. I gave workshops to the accountants who were responsible for dealing with millions of clients' euros. So in one of the workshops I gave, the following took place. I asked people to make eye contact for 2 minutes. So what happened was that they began to tremble and started sweating. And their manager, who sat next to me, saw this and was shocked as he realized what it meant for the relationship for their customers. Because they was responsible for the million of euros. And the confidence, and you would like to trust someone like that, wouldn't you? But how much faith you have in someone if they can't even manage to look someone in the eye? Imagine that you cannot look into the eyes of an important person. What does that actually mean? When you look into other person's eyes, you make really contact with the person. As a result, it increases trust and adds credibility to things they say. And you get a lot of information with making eye contact. So if you don't make any eye contact, you lose a lot of information. You have to see me. So if you make eye contact with each other, what's the worst thing that can happen? When I went to, try it for yourself sometimes. I still do it at a supermarket, for example. When I get to the checkout, I look at the cashier and greet them, "Good morning." And almost always they look a little bit startled. "Are you talking to me?" Because they notice that someone is really looking them in the eyes. Usually they look away awkwardly, and if they're caught out. I lived also for 1 year in South Africa for my graduation thesis, and I went shopping there one day. So I put my groceries on a conveyor belt when the cashier unexpectedly said, "Hi, how are you?" And I was startled and I was looking back. Was he really talking to me? Or someone else behind me? I didn't understand it at first, but through the questions, I feel like we were friends. So, what I would like to contribute to you today. Body language is so powerful and you use it all the time. Consciously or not, it's in you, it's in everyone. Making eye contact is receiving more information. By making eye contact, you are also making real contact with the person and you will get more information. And you remember the start when you heard nothing for a while? If you lack a sense like me and consciously start using your eyes to communicate, a new world will open up for you. Okay. Thank you for your attention.